Wow. It has been an incredible year. Is this thing on? Okay. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Are you doing okay? I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're doing great. I am perfect. I feel perfect. I feel great. Um, I'm extremely grateful, and I'm in a space where I have the ability to create freely and do what I want to do. Okay? I know what it's like starting out as a songwriter, a new songwriter, and trying to navigate through the music business, creativity, working a 9 to 5, being an entrepreneur, being a parent, and trying to stay balanced and focused, in what can be sometimes a crazy, chaotic world. Um, so my first question is, how are you? How are you doing? To my creatives, to my videographers, to my photographers, producers, musicians, songwriters, how are you doing? Um, Today has been one of those days where I realized I am not a normal person. I stay up late at night. Um, I wake up late in the afternoon, and it could be because I'm on this summertime schedule where school is out, so I don't have like an obligation to get up early in the morning. And I think naturally throughout the years, I've become programmed like that, where in the summer I'll usually stay up later. Um, a lot of times, I think that comes from being a kid and just being so anxious and so excited about not being in school for the summer that you 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 don't feel like you have to have a bedtime, right? And I know I'm a grown adult, right? Far from being a child, but those types of like nuances and just rituals kind of stick with you, um, as you get older. And it doesn't help that I do not have a traditional job. The career that I have selected for myself allows me to work on my own schedule, to create my own schedule, and to meet deadlines. And so I could meet a deadline at 6 o'clock in the morning, without, you know, having sleep. And also, to be 100 with you, I did have a third shift job at one point, and I think I've just become accustomed to being on that third shift life, like that graveyard shift. I don't know why they call it that. I think you can survive off of like 4 hours of sleep. Like, you don't necessarily need eight, but I know that's what we're programmed to think, we need 8 hours of sleep. But I could go off of four. I could definitely go off of four. So I have to do some traveling early tomorrow morning. And so it is late here. Um, so I was like, let me get on this content, train. Let me start to develop, and build this YouTube situation so that, people who listen to my music can get to know me as an artist, as a songwriter. So I pretty much started writing songs. Like, it started with poetry, of course. Like, that poetry will always be my first love. And just developing stories through poems and writing short stories, and coming from a musical family background, something that I was born into. So music is like, has always been like at the forefront, like, of my life. It's always been the common factor. And so with that, I just kind of always kept in mind that I had to um, be able to take care of myself financially. And I know that music is one of those lottery, if you will, type of careers. So, with that being said, I always developed other skills, and I think that's important for young people who are, figuring it out, graduating high school, trying to decide what direction they're going to go in. If you're going to pick up a major in marketing, if you're going to pick up a major in, let's say, marketing. I said marketing, but marketing, that's where I'm at. Like, I'm in marketing. So that's why I'm like stuck on that. But if you're going to pick up a career in education, or you're going to pick up a career in accounting, I think it's good to have um, multiple things that you can do, especially if you are into the arts, or if you're a musician. I think today it's safe to say that you can become obsessed with your career, with your profession, with your art, with your talent, but it's also safe to have something else that you do. I have what people call on again, off season, on season, sort of like sports. I'll have a season where I am completely um, like taken away from the creative side of music. I'm like completely taken away from songwriting. So what would what I would put in place of that would be studying studying something in marketing, which is my other half. Um, and so I think it's good to have a balance. I think with being an artist, you run into small roadblocks. Life happens. You may have children. You may decide to go to school. You may have to pick up full time work for a period, just to kind of give you the stability you need to effectively do your music, effectively get the equipment you need. And so it's okay. It's okay to take a break from music if you are creative, because music isn't going anywhere. No matter how technology evolves, or how, you know, um, changes happen in your life, music is always going to be there. There's always going to be a need for it. So I think that's what kind of kept me motivated and humble. And also, it kept me confident in knowing that I could always come back to the music at any point in my life. And so there's just different levels to it. When you're first starting out, you're caught up in like the glitz and the glamour and the creative process, the magical moments of writing. And so once you start, and if you're an amateur, for example, if you start out, you just want to be a songwriter. Um, as you develop in songwriting, you start to learn chords and how to play different instruments. And then you may tap into pre-production on your own, like doing, producing your own music or working with producers. Whatever route you take, there's going to be a level of creativity, but there's also going to be a level of learning where you have to dig deep, do some groundwork, um, become spiritually aware. You know, you may find God in the midst of your development. It's a lot of things that can attribute to your growth as an artist and as a musician. And so what kept me grounded and what has always kept me grounded is living, because I know we've heard the saying that you cannot live in a space where it's creativity and no life. Because remember, great songs start with a conversation. They start with people, they start with interactions. You go to a lounge or a nightclub and you feel the energy. You listen to a song that you might, you vibe into, and you could get your motivation from that. So you have to have life as well as creativity. For me, working in the beginning, working was like a, a burden because I did not know how to balance it. I was like, man, I do not want to work for these people. I want to do music. And that was my whole thing. But it was like, when you're young and you're a child, you have the freedom to do that. But when you become an adult, hey, you got to figure it out. You got to figure out how to make this work for me. Because it's like, if you're really engulfed into your art, whether it's painting, whether it's building cars, whether it's design, if you are really into that thing, you're going to need a way to finance it. You're going to need support. And so learning how to balance having a 9 to 5 and still building your business is essential. And I think that comes with a lot of prayer, because when you're working for other people, you have to be humble enough to take orders, to listen, to be corrected, and to be managed, and to be led. And in being led, you're also learning to be a leader yourself. So I think one of the greatest takeaways I've gotten is like, I remember one time, for example, I was working for a small business, a candy store in Nashville, and I was really focused. Okay, my whole goal was, listen, I need this. I need a car. I need money. I need a new keyboard. Like, I need a mic. I need a microphone. Like, I need some things to get some production done. I need studio time. I need a vocal coach. I need to take piano lessons. How am I going to supply these um, these needs? How am I going to meet these needs? And it came down to, you either have a rich daddy or you have to get a job. And so for me, it was like, girl, you got to go to work. So I was working for this particular company, and I was super focused, like super tunnel vision, to the point where I was acknowledging the people around me, but I was not emotionally affected by things around me that didn't align with where I was going or where God was taking me. And so I was focused enough to be able to maintain that job, do a great job, get my money, and get out of there. And while I'm there, though, I was able to learn how to manage, how to open and close a store, um, about inventory, about daily sales and tracking daily sales. And it all came like full circle once I started to, um, move on in advance in life and work for other companies, because I had been given a greater responsibility with the focus that I had during that time. So I wouldn't count having a job as like a distraction. It's all about how you look at it. And I know sometimes when you're young and you have these dreams and these ideas that you are like desperate to make happen. But I think it's important to hold on to those values, and to listen to the people, that you're working for, and to learn from them, and they may see something in you and promote you to a higher level that could get you exactly where you need to be with the compensation you need to eventually have enough stored up so that you can invest in yourself. So that's one of the things that I really needed to touch on with this video. It's staying grounded as an artist, not losing your mind and getting caught up in chaos, and maintaining your peace while you're on this journey. So um, I took a break. I took a small break from recording, not because I wanted to, but because I needed to. And I needed, like, it was for me, there was a period where um like right out of high school, I went straight to college. After college, straight to grad school. After grad school, straight to work. And it was like, when am I gonna be able to like make it? You know what I mean? Like, make it. I want to make it. I got to get discovered. And it was like, how do you do that? You know, we know that there's only 6 degrees of separation. So in my mind, the formula was work, 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 record, 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 produce, write, do all of that. Keep writing songs, keep putting them out. MySpace was around. I was like big on MySpace. And I think during that time, I thought, like, I'm just one step away from meeting someone who could potentially change my life. And I realized I was not happy in that space. It felt like a rat race. It felt like I wasn't doing music because I loved it. I was doing music because I wanted to gain something from it. And I judged that part of me because what I did not understand was that that was the business side. That was the mentality of wanting and needing to be an owner. And so that whole making it, it wasn't about becoming famous. It was about having ownership. And what I did not realize is that that was something that was already inside of me that I hadn't tapped into yet. And so there was a point during the process of working and and building myself up, where I was like, okay, you gotta get professional with this thing. Like, as a singer, you gotta get professional with it. Like, yes, every every person, every leader, every professional, every person who's good at what they do, they have a coach. Dancers, they have practice. Singers, they have a vocal coach. Singers have a choreographer. Managers have a district manager. Um, District managers have corporate managers. And so there's always someone there to train and to develop you into being better at what it is you do. Okay. And so all of that comes with like understanding and humbling yourself and knowing that if I want to be great, if my desire is to be great, then I have to do what great people do to be great. And find a hero or a coach or someone that you can study to help you get to that next level. I've always believed that you are the 5 people you hang around. So I'm like, I got to surround myself with people who are where I would like to go. And, so at that point in my life, I realized, okay, I'm working, right? I have a full-time job that I love, working at one of my favorite stores, which is Sephora. And on the fragrance wall, which I love fragrances. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm like addicted to perfume and fragrances and body oils and candles and just anything that smells good. That's what I'm about. So I've always had an attraction to self-care and feminine energy and feminine products. I mean, my mother raised me like, and she is a girly girl to the core. So growing up, just being around the boys and being around the guys in the studio all the time, singing hooks, I was the one who was like sort of edgy, around the way girl, but I always had my perfume game on lock. So working at Sephora was like, man, I get to sell fragrances all day. People would come in the store. They may not have been able to afford a Gucci bag, but I got this Gucci fragrance that's going to make you feel like you can go get you a Gucci bag because it's going to give you the confidence when you walk up in there like, I'm with, so that was the mentality that I had working at Sephora. And but that developed after being coached and being trained and understanding the brand and how to bring people in and listen to what their needs are and to sell them a product that maybe they did not come in there looking for, but a product that they didn't know they needed. So during that time, I'm like, okay, I have this great job and I'm making pretty good money. Let me start investing in myself. So I started seeing a vocal coach, a piano teacher. So I had a whole full schedule. I would go to work, go to my vocal coach, go to my piano lesson, and then on the weekends I would have gigs and I would perform in different clubs in Nashville. And during that time, I realized, wow, I made it just like that. It was like I was not famous, I was not a millionaire, but I was happy. I have so much peace and I'm learning, I'm growing, I have money coming in, money set aside, and you know, and then I'm getting exposure, people feeling my music. So it just for me it was that moment that made me realize, okay, this is this is what I need. This is good for me. I have everything I need. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. And this is so good for me as an artist. It was not like chaotic. It was perfect. It was perfect for me. And so I think being in a space like that brings you the best music, the best creativity, the best experiences. And I didn't even mention like the health part, the wellness part, the meditation, the yoga, the exercising, the walking, the psychology of exercising, with us thinking that we exercise And we work out because we hate our bodies or we hate the way we look, so we go to the gym. And that's the wrong way to think about it. You know, you exercise and you stay healthy and you stay in shape because you love your body. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying I have the perfect body, but I'm saying I love myself enough to take care of myself. And I think once you shift, you know, and you take your mind off of what everybody else is doing, you kind of detach away from social media, or the news, or, you know, what's going on, what everybody else is doing, and you kind of focus on your world and your life, you'll find your tribe. You'll find people that vibe with your music, that vibe with you as an artist. And you can throw that wow factor in your music, and, you know, and still be, you know, what I think it was Kelly Rowland said, ratchet righteous. You know what I mean? Like, you can be yourself, you can be real, you know what I'm saying? And you'll be like appreciated for your realness, um as you grow in your music, or in your art, in your photography, in your writing, and whatever it is that you're doing, your creativity. If you're a filmmaker, like, find that balance for you, because nobody, no job, no manager, no bully, no one is worth your mind or your freedom. And so I felt like it necessary to speak on that topic, about the growth period, about working full time and being a creative. So thank you so much for tuning in to the talk. Um, we're gonna do this a little bit more often. Um, I love how encouraging people are on social media when they're like, girl, make your content, do your thing, be creative. Like, I love that energy. So we need to put more of that out there, and just stay up and be real and stay well. All right? Peace out. I got that blessing on